I'd like to call the January 2025 of the Richfield Municipal Planning Commission to order. The first thing would be the approval of minutes from our previous meeting, and I would take a motion to approve those.
Commissioner Charlton moves.
Commissioner Stursa seconds.
All in favor of approving the minutes from the previous meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The next thing would be the open forum. This is an opportunity for residents and concerned others to present before the city before the City Planning Commission, generally on items that are not on the agenda. There is an opportunity ahead of time to contact the planner Crosby with comment beforehand. Did you receive any comments before the meeting?
No, we did not.
I would note that we did receive, that all the members of the Planning Commission did receive a letter from residents. And so that was some of the comment that we received in paper form from David Dornacher and Jody Spencer, and each member of the Planning Commission received that. All right, if there was no other comments ahead of time, if there's anyone here who would like to comment, please approach the podium. All right, seeing no one here for the open forum, we can then go to approving the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Commissioner Stursa, so move.
Commissioner Charlton seconds.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing to consider a request for 2 variances for setback requirements for a garage at 6612 Fifth Avenue South. Do we have a staff report?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Anita Perkins is here this evening requesting deviation from 2 setback requirements in order to construct a new detached garage that is exactly the same size and in exactly the same location as the previous garage. The property is zoned R, low density residential, and as such, it requires a 2-foot setback from the alley side, and the garage is only, or the foundation of the garage is only 1.8 feet from the property line. So it's about a 2-inch difference. And it requires a 3-foot setback from the north side property line, and the foundation is only 2.4 feet away. So about a 7-inch difference. The reason the applicant is requesting the same setbacks as the previous garage is because the footing is still in place and is still in good usable condition. We had a building inspector go out and visually inspect the foundation just to make sure that this is the case. And being that this is pretty unique after all this time, we find that it is a physical condition unique to the site that justifies deviation from the zoning code. Therefore, we believe the requested variances are reasonable, and we recommend approval of both the variances subject to the conditions listed in the resolution before you this evening. Thank you.
Any questions for Planner Crosby before we open the hearing? All right. I'd like to open this public meeting. I understand the applicant might be present. If you would like to approach the podium there and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anita Perkins. I just want to thank the Planning Committee for your time and consideration on these 2 variances. I appreciate that this process was available for us to use and to request the setbacks for the garage. I also want to thank Sam for all her guidance and support going through this, getting everything together, meeting all the requirements. Thanks for being responsive to my emails and my calls and my questions and all those, and expanding my vocabulary on the word impervious. This is my new word of the day. and that there's a certain amount of impervious material that can be on your property. So again, thanks, and I look forward to hearing on this recommendation. Any
Thank-
questions?
Yeah, I was just going to, do commissioners have any questions of the applicant?
I'm curious to see if your neighbors are aware of this variance request and if they, if there's any concerns or if they expressed any concerns.
No, I talked to the neighbor that it would affect the most, and there were no concerns there. They received notices in the mail as well, so.
Thank you.
Curious, did your previous garage or your current garage have gutters, and will there be an intention to have gutters on the new garage? I'm just curious about the footings on there, you know, and keeping water away and just keeping them for the foreseeable future.
Right. I don't know if the previous garage had eaves on it, or gutters.
Sure.
I think we would want to have gutters on this one.
I have a question for staff, if that's okay. At what point does an applicant need to seek this process when repairing a garage, and when is a garage being repaired and when is it being replaced? If the footings and the foundation are the same, at what's the line? When is it a new ship? How many pieces are replaced?
Chair and Commissioners, 1 year is the answer to that question. It's a time period, not necessarily an amount.
Oh, so maybe I misunderstood. I thought the garage was not, as the garage was already demolished then? Okay, I think I missed that.
Yes.
Burned down, that's right, I'm sorry.
No problem. Actually, the garage was demolished sometime between 2009 and 2012.
Okay, I missed that portion, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present who is here to speak to this? Seeing no one else to comment, I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Commissioner Stursa, so move.
Commissioner Charlton seconds.
Moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the public hearing is closed. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing to consider request for site plan approval for... You are correct. Thank you. All right. Yes. All right. So we would need a motion to adopt the staff recommendation about the variances.
Commissioner Hui so motions.
Commissioner Stursa, seconds.
All right, any discussion on the motion?
I just want to state that I think it's a good idea, primarily, I mean, not just because the economic of keeping the foundation, but also just the environmental impact I think is really important. I was asking about gutters, not because I'm a dork, but because I think it's important that, you know, we're thinking about this and from the sustainability of this foundation going into the future. And so we're not having this conversation again in the future, and too near in the future. So I'm in support.
Yeah, I just want to chime in and say thanks for coming to tell us what you need.
I strongly support that too. Tearing out the concrete and rebuilding it is, well, one, upping the impervious area quite a bit, and two, generating a lot of waste that you don't need, so.
Any other discussion? All right, so we do have a motion and a second to adopt the staff recommendation for the detached garage variances at 6612 Fifth Avenue South. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now, we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing to consider requests for site plan approval of the new Wood Lake Nature Center on Lakeshore Drive. Do we have a staff report?
Chair, we do. Thank you. HGA, on behalf of the Richfield Recreation Services Department, has submitted an application for site plan approval to construct a new Wood Lake Nature Center building at 6710 Lakeshore Drive. As most parks in the city, the property is zoned R, low-density residential. Governmental buildings are a permitted use in this district, but site plan review is required due to the construction of a new building. The proposed site plan is designed to provide a new one-story building that will be more than twice the size of the existing facility. The new building will be 40 feet farther from the lake and 80 feet closer to the street. It will be characterized by dark brown wood siding and green roof forms. The parking lot will be improved through the addition of landscaping, perimeter plantings, and electric vehicle chargers, but it will remain mostly unchanged. Construction is set to begin in the spring of this year with completion in the spring or summer of 2026. No variances are requested as part of the project, but there are certain modifications necessary in regard to landscaping requirements. As discussed in the policy section of the staff report, staff finds these modifications reasonable based on the unique nature of the property and the project's sustainability and energy reduction features. Staff recommends approval of the project subject to the conditions listed in the draft resolution of approval. The applicant is here, Carl Hugh Miller, the Recreation Services Director, and a representative from HGA that has worked with them throughout the process is also here. So if you'd like to hear from them, they're also here.
Chair, Commissioners, thank you. I'm Carl Hugh Miller. I'm the Recreation Services Director. The whole department's really excited to be managing the design and construction of this building. It should really enhance the park and it'll provide a lot more space for education, for community building, for people just to spend time and enjoy and be out in nature. The new building, the process for the new building started back in 2021. It's gone through a long design process with a lot of community engagement involved in it. It'll be one of the most sustainable buildings in Richfield with geothermal heating and cooling, bird glass, a green roof, and lots of native plantings as well. The new building expands the education space so that we can have more school groups come and do a lot more programming. It'll have an event space with a large deck so that we can have an event space in the city, which there currently isn't really. And then we'll have community spaces like a quiet bird watching lounge and a coffee area with hot chocolate and juices where people can spend time and hang out as well. And then the exhibit space will be expanded as well for more educational opportunities for people. So I'm here, and Andrew from HGA is here as well. We're happy to answer any questions you might have.
I really appreciated the chance to review this. This is an exciting project for the city and really excited to delve in. I noticed in the staff report that 75 trees are going to be cut down and another, I think 13 are going to be moved. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the 75, where they are on the site, what types of trees they are, the condition, and then also how it was decided that the 13 could be moved, and kind of talk me through that process a little bit.
Yeah, so
Thank
we
you.
have so we have a map, hopefully we can put up, that shows the location of the trees. The majority of the trees are either cottonwoods or box elder trees that have sprung up, just kind of taken root. When the building was initially built, they didn't plant very many trees, and so everything that has grown up is a volunteer tree and just kind of gone up. So the large trees you do see on site are all really large cottonwood trees that have a lifespan about of 50 to 70 years. So they're all kind of reaching the end of their life. A lot of the big cottonwoods have also grown close to the building, so they endanger the current building and would the new building as well. And so the ones that are the large cottonwoods that are in place where they would endanger the building, we'd be taking those down. So there are a couple of things. It's the trees that would endanger the building. Because the footprint of the building's expanded, we've expanded it mostly into open space, but there is spaces where it impacts trees. We do need to raise the floor of the building so that we're out of potential flooding, and so water runs away from the building. By raising the soil depth, a number of trees get covered by that, and if you increase the soil depth around the trees, in the long term it kills the trees, so we're going to be taking some out and replanting instead. And then the trees that we're keeping are smaller, younger trees that can sustain the trauma of being moved. So most of those are on the west side of the site. There's a small maple grove that was planted a number of years ago, and so those maple trees will be transplanting so that we can use them for maple syruping programs in the future, and so we'll place them around the building in particular places. We are doing our best to keep as many of the trees as we can, and we have been able to keep a number of the large cottonwood trees as well as some of the birches and other trees around there as well. So on the map here, you can see it has the current building there, and then as you go west along the lake shore, there's a bunch of grayed out trees. Those trees are the maple trees that are going to be moved because that's where the amphitheater and building are going to be. As you move towards the parking lot, those trees that are being removed are mostly being removed either because the building's going there or that grading is happening, and because we're raising 6 feet, it kind of spreads out and impacts those trees there as well. So.
Thank you.
I have a question on the irrigation.
Yeah.
So it looks like the modification of the variance, the original plan states that you need to have an underground mechanical irrigation system, but you guys are planning on putting in drought-tolerant native plantings. Is that basically a French drain? Or can you kind of describe that type of irrigation system that you plan on putting in?
So I guess our understanding is we were, because it's within a park and we're putting in drought-tolerant plants, we weren't going to have any irrigation system. We will have spigots on the building that we can use when it's extreme drought conditions to water the plants.
Okay.
As part of our funding through B3, if we did put in an irrigation system, after 5 years, we're not allowed to use it, otherwise it threatens our funding. And because it's within the park, you get into the question of how far should the irrigation go? Because if there is a drought or things are happening, then it's going to be impacting the whole park. So you'd have this circle of green at the parking lot, and then everything else would be more not so lush. And we do have staff who are dedicated to maintaining the grounds and the whole entire park actually, and they'll be focusing on ensuring that those plants have get well established and are able to survive through times when we don't get as much rain.
Any other questions of city staff? Then I would like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone present to speak on this matter? Planner Crosby, did we receive any comments about this ahead of time? Or Planner Villa, sorry.
It's okay. Chair, we did not.
All right. Seeing no one here to comment, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Charlton moves to close.
Commissioner Keneally seconds.
All right, moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Now we would need a motion to adopt the recommended staff action.
Commissioner Charlton moves to approve the recommended staff action.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Sturso seconds.
All right, any discussion?
My only thought is that all the reasons that were listed in what would be variances and things are well rationale, especially the drought tolerant plants and everything. I think it really serves that natural aspect of the park really well. And I'd also think that, this was up for referendum and the voters passed it. And so I think it's important to respect that as well. So my 2 cents.
I just add that I think the building is beautiful. I love that it is moved away, or that it's closer to the road. I love that it incorporates almost all of the ideas that we had dreamed up in our comp plan. I appreciate that it reflects that. I think what's being requested is reasonable, and the deviations are appropriate for the site, so I'll be supporting it.
Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion before us to adopt the recommended staff action and findings, and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. The next item on the agenda would be liaison reports, Community Service Advisory.
the Board of Directors of Woodlake is taking applications for members, Board of Director members. So they've gotten one application so far, and they reviewed that in the meeting.
All right. City Council, that's me. So the City Council had their organizing meeting. They swore in new members at a special meeting, and then they had their first regular meeting where they selected Councilmember Hayford O'Leary as the Mayor Pro Tem in case Mayor Supple is outside the city limits, and some general organizational tasks like that. They also approved a collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters that represents some of the members of the police force. All right, the next item on the next liaison report would be housing and redevelopment.
So last week, the HRA approved a memorandum of understanding to support financial assistance and 4D tax status for Hempel Real Estate. The apartments, the New Orleans Court, Richland Court, and Winton House are, let's see, 236 units of natural occurring affordable housing, and they were on the market, and the Hempel has approached the city or the HRA to partner in preserving their affordability, and the action last week was the first action to provide financial assistance and to support the 4D tax status. It's going to be in front of the council tomorrow, and then HRA it will review it again in February. HRA took some public comments on it, so something that I think the community is more engaged in, and it will be an interesting conversation tomorrow night at the council.
All right, Richfield School Board.
Thank you, Chair. School Board met on January 6th to elect new officers. Superintendent presented on enrollment throughout the district, as well as matters particular to the STEM school. The school board met again on January 21st, where the superintendent presented on extended learning options, including after-school programming for elementary, middle, and high school students. Same date, there was also a study session presenting on the school district's legislative platform for this year.
All right. Transportation Commission, he is not here. Chamber of Commerce.
Nothing pertinent to share.
Sustainability Commission.
Nothing from the January 23rd meeting has been posted yet, so no report.
All right, now we have the city planners reports.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. The first reading for the text amendment to allow dynamic drive-through signs went before the City Council on January 14th. They did have a couple minor comments, and the second reading will be held tomorrow evening. Their minor comments have been incorporated into the ordinance. Basically, it was that if a dynamic display is already existing on the property, that they would not get dynamic drive-through signs. And then conversely, if there are already dynamic drive-through signs on the property, that they would not get then a dynamic sign in like a freestanding pylon or their main advertising sign.
Can I ask a quick clarification?
Yeah,
Is
sure.
it that you can only have one sign with dynamic language, or is it first come, first serve? Like if they already have a dynamic sign, then they can't add one?
Yeah, I think.
Sorry to clarify. I'm just
No,
curious.
no problem.
Yeah.
I think the intent is that that it was originally only one dynamic sign per property. And even though we allow drive-throughs to have more than like one menu board, they're much smaller in size, so it's pretty comparable. So it's one or the other. Either it's on your main pylon or it's on the dynamic.
Thank you.
I mean, on the drive-through. I did want to also mention that there is a work session scheduled for February 24th, the same evening as the February Planning Commission meeting. Now, we don't actually have any land use applications for February to review, but there are a number of administrative items, such as the bylaws, the calendar, electing the chair and vice chair. So I thought I would leave it up to you guys whether or not you want to push those administrative items to March and cancel the February meeting, or since you're going to be here anyways for the work session, just go ahead and meet in February for the administrative items, even though there's no actual land use requests. So, Chair, if you want to discuss that. Thoughts?
My thinking is that we're here anyway, and that way, if there's nothing for March, we could potentially cancel the March meeting, but even if there is, we would have one less thing on the agenda. We wouldn't have to do the administrative tasks. So my thought is we should just have it anyway. What are your all thoughts?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the feedback. I appreciate it. We'll go that direction. And that's it for my report.
All right, so we do have that work session on the 24th and meeting. There's nothing else on the agenda for tonight. I would
Question, what is the work session topic? Do we know?
Yeah, it's MR2 and MR3 zoning code updates.
Thank you.
Good question. All right.
That is going to be scandalous.
Yeah, I think that's a good, I'm glad we're going to have a meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Charlton moves to adjourn.
Commissioner Keneally seconds.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we stand adjourned.